Step by step, how to make 100K in your first year in real estate. I want to tell you my story, which will apply because there's a lot of principles, no matter if you start at the top or the bottom, that will enable you to make 100K in your first year. Now, I've done it a few times, but I want to tell you the first time I did it, and it happened in Bridgewater, New Jersey. It was a development that was a $14.2 million assisted living facility with soft costs and everything. I think it was $17 million. They gave me money for the absorption and all that kind of good stuff. But that started with a dream. I wasn't even in real estate. I don't know if you know this story, but I got asked to play golf at a country club one time. And it was from my favorite person, my mother-in-law. She didn't talk to me that often, but she invited me to a golf outing that her company was having. And little did I know, the golf club was having an executive special. They were having a membership drive because the club had dried up. They just didn't have any membership. Kind of unusual for a country club, but everything happens for a reason, because this led to me making $100,000 in my first year of real estate. So I'm going to tell you this story. So here, I go to this golf outing, and I actually felt guilty to take the free lunch. My wife's like, you know, you've been working so hard. Why don't you go play golf today? I go out, and I'm playing golf and enjoying myself. And I start daydreaming, like, what would it be like to join a country club? I started to imagine that, wow, maybe I could belong to a country club. If I belonged to a country club, like, what if I could actually tell my story to all these rich people at the country club, and they would invest money in me, and I would buy real estate. And as I'm playing in this golf outing, I'm literally creating the story in my head that came true a few months later. And this is what happened. I go home after finding out about this executive special. For $5,000, I could join a country club. Well, you've heard me talk about enrollment. Well, I went into the enrollment process with my wife to enroll her to let me take $5,000 out of the savings account that we really didn't have. We had just had twins. I was struggling to buy diapers and formula for my twins. I had a job in New York City, and I just wasn't making ends meet. And here, my wife's like, you want to join a country club? But I had a dream. And it all starts with dreaming about making that $100,000 a year in real estate, because then you start to ask yourself the right questions. So sure enough, here I join this country club, and I start playing golf on the weekends, because being away from the kids for 7 hours when my wife had twins to take care of and she was working a full-time job wasn't what she really wanted to hear. But she sacrificed, and I started playing golf. And believe it or not, it only took 1 month. And I was playing with this young hotshot who's telling me this story on how he had 100 people working in a corporation, and that corporation was paying for each one of those people $125 an hour. And he was only paying them $50. So that was $75 an hour times 100, the money he was making. And I decided to tell him my story. And believe it or not, in the 4th week of belonging to the country club, he says to me, I'm not only going to give you $100,000, I want to be your partner. And sure enough, by taking that step of joining a country club with no money, when sometimes we all sit there and go, how am I going to ever earn $100K? How am I going to earn 6 figures one day? And your actions are based on your bank account, is when you really have to look at the step-by-step on how to make $100K in your first year. And that's where we have some programs, Financial Freedom Protocol, Modern Wealth Building Formula, because I really want to tell you what happened. So here I go, and I get money in my hand, $100,000. Now, what do I do with that? I figure out that I could live off $60,000 for the year, which left me $40,000 to figure it out. So I tell my wife, I'm going to start paying myself $5,000 a month. I was making $15,000 when I quit my job. She thought I was nuts. But I had my taxation filtration system, and I figured out how to live off $5,000 a month, where you can learn too, in my Modern Wealth Building Formula. And during that time, you're not going to believe it, I landed my first project development. It was a 12-acre site that I purchased for $25,000 refundable deposit. That's right, $25,000 refundable deposit, contingent upon approval with none of my own money. And that turned into that $14.2 million development where I actually paid myself a $600,000 development fee. So not only did I make $100,000 in my first year, in that first year, I was paying my company $27,000 a month. I don't know what that equates to, but it was a lot of money back then. And that got me started. And the beauty of this story is that in real estate, there's 9 ways to earn fees. See, I didn't really know about real estate, but I knew about fees because from building skyscrapers in New York City, I knew there was owners' representatives, there was architects, engineers. They all got paid fees. I was an engineer and I knew about fees, but I wasn't working as an engineer, so it wasn't like front and center. But when I learned about the real estate development fee, that you can earn 5% of a fee on a project value, I was like, game on. I'm going to get me a $10 million project and I'm going to pay myself a 5% development fee. That sounds pretty cool. Then I started to look at the other fees because it was 9 ways to pay myself. But in this case, I couldn't take advantage of all 9 ways, but I did know how to build. So I decided I was going to give myself the construction. Now I couldn't just give it to me because having an investment group, you have to solicit bids and you have to do it for the lowest and best price. Well, sure enough, when the construction bids came in, it was a $500,000 over budget, and I had the opportunity to step in, and instead of building it for $9.2 million, I built it for $8.7. Guess what? I paid myself more money. I made another 3% fee, and I ran almost 8 to 10% on that $9.2 million or $8.7 million contract through general conditions. What are general conditions? That's money that pays for your staff. That's right. Believe it or not, on my first project, I was able to pay myself a 5% development fee, an 8% general conditions, and a 3% CM fee. I don't know about you, but do the math. That's close to $1 million. And that's what you can do in this business. And I wanted to just tell you those few steps through the story that I did on how I hit it big coming out of the box. Now, you can actually do one project and retire. Now, I'm not telling you want to step into that, but if you surround yourself with a dream team, if you were to retain me, I could guide you through it. Owner's rep, partner, global real estate partnership program, financial freedom protocol, modern wealth building formula. We have all the education and step-by-step programs to take you to that first year of making $100,000 a year. And I really want you to take this serious because what we're talking about today is a business. So not only do you earn that money, you then get the ability to write off several of your expenses. So you get the multiplication of all these benefits all in one in real estate investing. Keep all this in mind. Follow the step-by-steps on how to make $100K in your first year, and you're going to be golden and doing this full time. Make it a great day.